So you have a wonderful wife, you have beautiful children. What's your favorite thing about being a father?
My favorite thing about being a dad is how much my kids feel my protection. I feel important that there's no other man on earth that could give them that, and I do it. It's I really feel like that's why men were put here. I call it the three P's. Procreate, provide, and protect. And I've done those things. And my dad on his deathbed told me something, and it really told me a lot of things on his deathbed. It's something that really resonated with me. I asked my dad, I said, "Do you believe in God?" And he said, "Yeah, I do." And I said, "No," he said, he paused for about 60 seconds. And he came back, he says, he said, "I believe in the devil too, son." He said, "And you can't outrun that son of a bitch." And I want my kids to know that, that they are going to have trials their whole life. And, the best thing you can do is be prepared, to stand right in the middle of the road and meet them head on, because it's coming. I try not to sugarcoat things with my kids as much as I want to. I know I do, but the mistakes that I've made, you asked, I just, if I could go back and change them, I know that I'm going to make more in the future. So it's really, life is a series of mistakes. And every now and then you get a couple of things right. And in those moments, you can feel whole and unbroken and happy, and joyful. But there's way more times, that I feel like I've messed up.
Hmm. You've been enormously successful, and as an extension of that, your children are growing up very differently to how you grew up, um, and in many ways are living, a life of extraordinary privilege. How does that affect the way you father them?
I don't think my kids know that they're privileged just yet. Um, they we all protect our kids from the things we can protect them from. That's natural. You know, uh, but I would say that where money is concerned and material things, my wife has done an incredible job. We both grew up humble. You know, um, very modest. I grew up poor. She grew up modest, and neither one of us are excessive. With like my wife has two pieces of jewelry that I've given her since we met. She has no jewelry. Didn't even want it. Um, our our kids are really blessed to call her mom. And do I worry that they're going to meet that they're not exposed to some of the rougher things? Yeah, because that's not reality. But as we start to cross that threshold, and letting them know that like we don't let them watch the news. We don't want our kids watching any news because of the way that things have become much more graphic and much more politicized. Either way, we want them to have their innocence, but we both are not living under any kind of ruse that our kids are going to escape the hardships of life. But I guess in helping them be prepared, we do make them work for money. Like we don't have a nanny. We My daughter and son, the older two, clean the kitchen every night. I cook. The kids help chop up stuff to cook, it's inclusive. You know, we take care of our animals on our ranch. We pick up trash. We do things that we think will instill a good work ethic in them. We're we are religious in our home. We pray. We have a chapel. All of our kids have been taught to pray, and we try to just arm them the best way we can with the things that we think they'll need. And but yeah, mine and my wife's life were very much different than the way our children are growing up. But I think that we have managed to instill the values that will keep them grounded.
You love being a dad, and that's clear. What advice would you have for a new father?
Okay. You said would I do something different, and there is one. That you ask a question that hits on a nerve. New fathers, well, at least in my situation, I was probably overbearing, wanting my kids to be like role model citizens, from the time they came out of the womb, and man, you just chill out would be my advice, and just know that you were a baby once, and the more patient you are, I think the better it is for the whole family. A dad's job, and I've learned this the hard way, is a dad's job is to really keep his household peaceful. Not raising your voice. You don't have to be firm. Just be there. And when things do get out of control, calm them down.
What about marriage? Does music make you a better husband?
I married a saint. She reminds me so much of my grandmother. I don't know how she tolerates me.
Me either.
I'll be honest. I'm not easy to live with. I think I'm pretty fun loving, but I think I can be difficult. And she's never complained, and that's part of her sainthood. I think she's already sainted. But I can say what makes our marriage work in a great way is that, and I will say this, two things. One is, it really bothers me when people say, you got to work at it. I don't think you have to work at it. I think you got to work on you. You don't have to work at marriage. You got to work on you. And my wife loves being a mother. She flourishes in it and loves it. And, we have the best relationship of any couple that I know. And it's because of her mainly. But she knows what's great about being a wife and great about being a mom. It doesn't stress her to be those. And she's patient with me. And through COVID, we had one slight argument, just one, very beginning of it, and we fix it immediately. We do not let time go by if there's any kind of rub at all. And with our children, I can say that we discipline often, and it's mild. It's right. It's not letting it build up to a place where you got to lose control. And that's what makes it work for us, and it's fantastic. I never want another wife. Just put it that way.
What what advice would you have for newlyweds?
You know, let me rephrase that. What advice would I have for newlyweds? First of all, don't marry someone that you have a doubt about, any doubt. If there's one doubt, it's not going to be right. It'll never be right. When you do get married, try to be the first one to say, I'm sorry. That's a hard thing for people. If you can't say, I'm sorry, it's not going to work.
So you've got the new album. It's doing well. New album takes you on the road. Hit album takes you on the road even more. How is that different when you have the family at home as opposed to when you were just getting started?
It's hard. You know, I've laid in bed at night on the road, and I've shed some tears. You know, it's there's definitely a sacrifice that's made on both ends. Sacrifice made by me being alone, a sacrifice made by my wife being alone with 5 kids. That's a huge sacrifice. Her sacrifice is way, 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 way bigger than mine. They both hurt, and probably the toughest moment that I've had ever is this week. I was leaving to go to Kansas City, and I had to get up at 5 in the morning and fly out. And normally I'd ride the bus leaving home, but I wanted to stay an extra night in my own bed and be with the kids and Jessica. And I woke up at 5 and quietly got my pants and my boots and went into my closet to not wake anybody up and go in. And I wasn't in the closet 60 seconds, and I hear it. And it's my 3-year-old son, Ezra. And he opens the door, and he just comes running to me, and he buries his head in me. Whew. That's tough. That was tough.